Another classic one that I'd love to talk about is Steve Austin and Debra McMichael, or Deborah Austin, or whatever the fuck. Now, according to her, she said that Austin violently beat her often. But the thing about that I find strange is if he'd have done that at the time, the way she described it, she'd be disfigured because like he was on roids, or I should say he had been really working out a lot by injecting, and I just thought that now maybe he was dick and a bully and aggressive, but I think she may have exaggerated the assault claims.
Well, see, that's a really hard subject to talk about. I'll tell you why. All right. You know, I know people who have been physical on their wives or girlfriends. I think, I could think of two, three people right off the bat. One of my friends in particular, when he used to beat up his girlfriend, and I'll use an even better example because some people that follow me already know this story. When I was in my early 20s, I dated this girl, Susan, and she was hot, and people were like, "What the hell's she doing with you?" And we had a great chemistry and started dating. And after 2 months like that, it was over. The reason being is because she was abused by boyfriends all her life. I'm not trying to make myself sound like a great person, but I'm not the type to abuse. Number one, I always felt no one is worth getting arrested over like that, so I don't abuse. But the thing is that when we had this talk, and she was telling me about this ex-boyfriend that used to beat the shit out of her all the time, and she showed me a picture of this guy. This guy was like, if you remember Devon Dudley when he was really jacked up in TNA.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just, instead of him being black, it's an Italian guy. This guy was like this. And this girl, Susan, I dated, was probably 110 pounds. This guy with one shot could break her jaw and totally disfigure her also. But he never did. And the thing is that, I don't base someone's size or their muscular tone or steroids or not steroids, defining how much abuse they put on someone. I will say this, and this is pretty well known. Steve Austin had dated someone by the name of Tess Broussard. And I don't remember if they were engaged or not, but I'm still actually friends with her to this day. And I haven't talked to her recently, but we used to have a lot of conversations off of the show. And I had interviewed her probably, my God, it must have been about 15 years ago, 12 years ago. And she made some really outrageous claims towards Steve Austin. And believe it or not, about 2 years ago, some website out there that was trying to rehash like old stuff to try to clickbait, they brought up how Vince talked about something like with his cousin or something like that. And it was a Playboy interview from like 2001. They were trying to report it as news right now. But the thing with Tess Broussard is she made some pretty wild accusations against Steve Austin. And because I was friendly with her also, when I did the interview with her, I basically talked not as an interviewer, but as a guy. Like what she was claiming to me that he did, I was like, wow, what a piece of shit. And to this day, I'm blocked from Steve Austin on social media because I was friends with her and because that type of interview. And over the years, like, I will never know if it was true or not. I'll never know if she exaggerated or not. But, it's nothing personal against the guy. I see him now and I just can't envision him being an abuser like that. But, just like this Benoit documentary that came out, at the end of the day, the only people that will ever know why Chris Benoit did what he did is Chris Benoit and God. And the only people that will ever know the truth as far as what Steve Austin did with Debra is Steve Austin and Debra. So, I just, you never know. You never know. And it sucks to be in a position like that of abuse. And I have had some people over the years that came off as the nicest people in the world who we found out were abusers. I'm not talking about anybody in wrestling. I'm just talking in private life. And some people that you would never ever in a million years could hurt a fly, you find out has been just doing just crazy abuse on people. And it's not always just physical, it's mental as well. So I honestly don't know as far as what he did and didn't do. You know, I just, you know, it's a bad situation to be in. It really is. But I will say this. We have heard zero about Steve Austin and abuse forever. So if there was issues at the time, give the man credit that there have been no issues. I haven't heard one iota of anything like that for, God, what is it? It's got to be 15, 16 years, 2002. Yeah. When I interviewed, I think it was 2003 or 2004. So it's been about 15 years. I haven't heard anything negative about Steve Austin since. So look, you know, people do make mistakes in their life and they learn from them. And in the case of Steve Austin, maybe he did abuse at the time. Maybe it was exaggerated. But even if it did happen at that time, I always feel that people can grow and redeem themselves and improve. And the guy has done nothing negative, in my opinion, in the last 15 years of anything with abuse. So I have to go with what, you know, I see. I don't know him personally, but you know, at the time, it felt a little bit overblown. It felt a little bit exaggerated. And I agree with you. You could just knocked her out, you know, broke all her teeth in one shot, you know. But, you know, once I became friendly with Tess and, you know, and she started saying some of the things, then you start thinking, hey, maybe it is true. But I give the guy credit for, you know, really no signs of anything like that in well over a decade. So